So this isn't a story I ever thought I'd tell. But if you're here, maybe it's late, maybe you're alone, maybe you're sipping cold coffee, scrolling through something mindless, just waiting for your brain to soften a little before sleep. That's where I was too, and then I met her. On Discord, of all places. It wasn't love at first sight. I didn't even see her. It was her voice, warm, familiar somehow, like the sound of someone turning a page in the next room. It felt like home, even though I didn't know her. She didn't even know I was listening at first. But I remember her laugh. I remember how it made my shoulders drop, like I'd been tense for years without realizing it. Let me back up a little. It was February, late. The kind of night where your apartment feels too quiet and your thoughts feel too loud. I was working late, again, as a remote editor for a media company that still used Google Hangouts. My only social contact that day had been a DoorDash driver and a Slack pin that said, "Can you hop on a quick call?" I didn't hop on. I opened Discord instead. I'd been part of this server for months. The Midnight Brew. It was coffee themed, chill, kind of sleepy, like a digital cafe where the same 8 people rotated through like night shift ghosts. That night, someone was in hashtag the late latte voice channel. 3 people. 1 bot. I hovered. I almost didn't click in. I was tired. But my brain was buzzing. And the idea of hearing someone with better than the silence. I clicked. Muted mic, no webcam. Just me, lo-fi, and background chatter. That's when I heard her. Username, Maple Mornings. She was telling a story about how her cat Mocha had knocked over a cup of coffee onto her keyboard again, and how now the number 8 key stuck and always typed 2 8s instead of 1. She said it like he'd told the story 100 times, but still found it funny. And I smiled. She laughed again a few minutes later, and I swear to God, I felt it in my chest. You know that feeling? That flutter? That little gasp your body does when something just hits different? Yeah, that. It wasn't attraction, not exactly. Not yet. It was comfort, safety, like finding your favorite sweater again at the back of the closet. I stayed for over an hour, just listening. Didn't say a word. And right before I disconnected, she said, "Maple Mornings, playful." "Good night, lurker. Hope we kept you company." She knew I was there, and I froze. I almost unmuted, almost said something. But instead, I logged out, sat back, and I smiled like an idiot. I hadn't felt noticed in weeks. The next night, I joined earlier. This time, I unmuted. I said, "Hey, sorry for lurking yesterday. I'm Eli." And she said, "Maple Mornings. Oh, the ghost speaks. Welcome to the midnight shift, Eli." We laughed. Talked about small things, like whether tea counts as coffee. It doesn't. And why every Discord bot seems to have anxiety. It wasn't much, but it was everything. That's how it started. Little rituals, quiet companionship, voice calls that started at midnight and stretched until dawn. We played lo-fi together, compared word playlists. She sent me memes that were exactly my humor and somehow always knew when to ask how I was really doing. She said I reminded her of chamomile. I told her she sounded like cinnamon. We were 2 tired people, typing in lowercase, trying to stay warm over the internet. A few weeks passed like that. I'd open my laptop at 11:50, already refreshing the server, checking if her name was online. She always was. Maple Mornings is online. That line lit me up more than caffeine ever could. One night, she messaged me directly. Maple Mornings, DM. "Hey, you want to just hang in a private VC? It's kind of loud in there tonight." My stomach flipped. I typed back, "Eli, sure, let me grab my tea." We talked for 4 hours. She told me about her city, about walking to the bakery every Sunday just to smell the fresh bread. I told her about my favorite mug, this awful chipped thing that says Editor-in-Chief of Caffeine. She said it sounded charmingly tragic. I told her she had tragic taste in Spotify playlists. We laughed a lot. And when she yawned and said, "Maple Mornings, I should sleep, but I don't want to yet," I knew exactly what she meant. I didn't want to leave either. We said goodnight, but stayed connected, just quiet. She fell asleep in the call. I heard her breathing, soft, even, like a lullaby. I left the call 2 hours later. Didn't want to disturb her peace. After that night, we didn't even have to plan it. Every night, same time, same place. VC, lo-fi, dim lights. Sometimes we'd share screens while working. Sometimes we just listen to music. Sometimes we just exist together. And sometimes we said nothing at all. But silence with her was different. It wasn't awkward, it was enough. She became my favorite part of every day. I started planning around her, moving meetings, skipping Netflix, leaving the bar early just to get home and boot up Discord. I didn't tell anyone. It felt too fragile, too soft to explain. How do you say, I think I might be falling for someone I've never met? How do you say, her voice makes me feel like I could breathe again? But I felt it, in the way I typed slower to her, in the way I looked forward to her voice more than any podcast, in the way I smiled when she pinged me, even when I was knee-deep in edits. She made me feel like a person again, like I wasn't just a username, like I mattered. One night, we were both quiet, just soft lo-fi and the click of her keyboard. She suddenly said, Maple Mornings, you ever think if we met in real life, we'd still get along? I hesitated, then replied, I think we'd get along better. She didn't say anything for a while. And then she whispered, Maple Mornings. Miku, I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I was worried, but because my chest was too full of something good, something warm, something I didn't want to name, not yet, because naming it made it real, and real things can disappear. Instead, I made her a playlist. I called it Cinnamon and Lo-Fi. 20 tracks, all soft, all her vibe. She listened to it that night, said her favorite was the third one, Butterflies. I didn't tell her why I picked that one, but I think she knew. At some point, it wasn't just voice chats and playlists anymore. It was deeper. We shared family stuff, trauma stuff, past relationship scars, what made us cry, what made us stay up at night. We didn't judge, we just listened. And somewhere in there, quietly, slowly, I realized I loved her. But I didn't say it, not yet. Because we hadn't talked about what this was. We didn't need to. We felt it. And sometimes feelings are too delicate for words. Sometimes the bond is the definition. So I kept joining the calls, kept sharing playlists, kept asking, did you sleep okay? And she kept calling me Coffee Bean, kept laughing at my stupid jokes, kept saying, this is my favorite part of the day. And it was mine too. That was our rhythm, our ritual. Just two tired hearts holding hands across the internet. Never saying the words, but knowing. God, did we know. So much of us existed between the lines. Not in what we said, but in how we said it. In the way she'd pause after my name. In the way I type, when I didn't know how to say I miss you. It was unspoken, but not unread. You can fall for someone in silence, I think. We had our things. Little rituals, like sending each other one photo from our day. Something soft, something real. She'd send a picture of her windowsill. Soft light, a book. Her cat, a mug that always looked like it was steaming. I'd send her screenshots from my walks. Yellow leaves, empty benches. Once, a duck wearing a tiny raincoat. She lost it over that one. It was mundane, but it felt intimate. Like we were showing each other what no one else saw. One night, she said, Maple Mornings. Hey, what's your comfort movie? I told her it was Spirited Away. She said hers was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I said that made sense. She was a dreamer. She said I was a keeper, and I had to mute myself because my heart genuinely skipped. She said she didn't really believe in soulmates, but she did believe in soul timing. People who arrive at exactly the right moment. Not forever maybe, but exactly when you need them. I asked her what she needed right now. She just said, Maple Mornings. That's the thing about late night voice chats. They blur the edges, make everything feel truer, like your heart finally has the room to speak. I wanted to tell her, I wish you were here in this room with me. But instead I said, I think we'd be really good at making pancakes together. And she whispered, I think we already are. More nights passed, more playlists, more silence that felt like music. But underneath it, something started shifting. She started logging in later. Her messages got shorter. There were days when she didn't show up at all. Nothing dramatic, just a slow fading. Like fog lifting. I didn't ask. I didn't want to cling, didn't want to be that guy. But I noticed every blank status, every missed thing, every day without sunbeam. And the silence, it started feeling different. Not soft, not safe, just empty. Then, one Sunday night, she DM'd me first. Maple Mornings DM. Hey, been kind of a week. Sorry I've been quiet. I stared at the message for a full minute. Typed. No worries. You okay? She replied, this tired. Brain fog, life stuff, you know. I didn't push, didn't ask the questions clawing at my throat. I just said, I'm here when you want to talk. She replied with a Yariage emoji. And that was it. I sat in our usual VC that night. Alone. Kept the lo-fi running, mic muted. Just hoping. She never joined, but I stayed until the sun came up. The next few weeks were like that. Sometimes she was there, sometimes she wasn't. Sometimes she was all light and laughter. Other times, just dots. Seen at 1:27 a.m. No reply. I wanted to ask, are we okay? Are you okay? If there's someone else? But I didn't, because I didn't want to break it, whatever it still was. One night, she joined again. Just us, like the old days. No lo-fi, just silence and her voice. Small, tired. She said, Maple mornings. Everything feels loud lately. I'm overwhelmed all the time. I feel like I'm disappointing everyone. And I said, I'm not everyone. She didn't reply right away, but she sniffled. I think she cried, quietly, muted herself after a second. When she came back, her voice was steady. She said, Maple mornings? Thank you for being soft. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just said, you always deserve softness. The truth is, I didn't know what we were anymore. Friends? More than that? Less? We hadn't said I love you. We hadn't made any promises. But I missed her. In the same way you miss a song that stops halfway through. And then one night, I joined the server and she wasn't there. Not just not online. Gone. Her username didn't appear. Our DM still existed, but grayed out. She'd left the server. No goodbye. No message. Just gone. I stared at that gray bubble for hours. Clicked through old messages. Voice call logs. Playlist links. All still there, but empty. Like postcards from someone who stopped sending them. I thought about messaging just one more time, but I didn't. Not out of pride, out of fear that she wouldn't reply. That she would and say something final. That I'd hear her voice in my head and it wouldn't be soft anymore. I sat in our old voice channel that night. No music, no mic, no one else. Just me. The lo-fi bot was offline. Even the bots were quiet. I went to our last playlist, Cinnamon and Lo-Fi. Track 3 still made my chest hurt. It didn't feel like heartbreak. It felt like something that mattered, simply stopped. Like an unfinished poem. Like a window left open. But here's the thing. It didn't ruin me. Because whatever it was real. For a little while, in a little server, with a little voice, I felt something good. And maybe that's enough. Maybe it always was. She messaged me again a month later, out of nowhere. Her username popped up on a random Tuesday. Just one line. Maple mornings. Hey, I thought about you today. I hope you're doing okay. My hands shook. I replied, hey, I think about you too. I'm okay. You? She said, I'm better. It's been a journey, but I wanted to say thank you for being part of it. We didn't call again, not like before. But sometimes she sends me a meme, a song, a picture of her cat, and I send her sunsets, coffee mugs, duck updates. It's different, but still warm, still real. I don't know what we were. Maybe we were never meant to last forever, but we existed. And in a world like this, where people disappear like browser tabs, that means something. Sometimes the people who arrive in the middle of the night are the ones who teach you how to feel again, even if they leave. Even if you don't end up with them, they stay. In playlists, in phrases, in the way you say goodnight. It's strange how people can become places. Maple Mornings was never just a voice on a call. She was a room, a familiar one. Warm lighting, soft cushions. One of those spaces where you breathe deeper without realizing. And when she left, it felt like someone turned the lights off in that room. But grief is subtle when it isn't tragedy. It's in the empty Discord channel you still click on out of habit. It's in the half-typed messages you backspace. It's in a playlist you skip because the second song still hits too close. We weren't a breakup. We were just adrift, like tide pulling back. I used to think love had to be loud. Fireworks, confessions, sweeping gestures. But what we had, it was quieter than that. It was someone remembering your tea order. Someone asking, "Did you sleep?" Someone being there every night until they weren't. We didn't need labels. We had rhythm, repetition, ritual. It was more than friendship, not quite dating, but deeply something. And I think there's space for that in the world. The in-between, the unnamed. It matters, even if it doesn't last. It's been 8 months now, since our last real call. Since we watched the Studio Ghibli film on stream, and she fell asleep halfway through. Since I told her she mumbled in her sleep, something about pancakes and a cinnamon toaster. Since I heard her breathing through my headphones and felt like I belonged somewhere again. We still message now and then. Little things. She sent me a picture of her new place. There's a balcony, string lights. Her cat still looks like it's judging everyone. I sent her a voice memo once. Just a laugh, and this reminded me of you. She didn't reply, but I saw the blue check mark. That was enough. I think some people are meant to be chapters, not whole novels, but important. The kind of chapters you underline, fold the page, reread on rainy days. She was mine. Sometimes I wonder what we would have been if we lived closer. If I'd asked for her number. If she'd sent that voice memo first. If we'd ever just taken the plunge. But maybe we would have ruined it. Maybe the mystery was part of the magic. I kept everything. The playlists, the screenshots, the note she sent me once that just said, "Mabel mornings. Tonight was soft. Thank you for being soft too." I read it sometimes, like a poem. There's a quote I heard once. Some people pass through your life to show you how it feels to be seen, even if they don't stay. That was her. She saw me, and I hope I saw her too. I started joining new servers. Didn't expect much, still don't. But sometimes I hear a voice or see a username and something stirs. Not because I'm trying to replace her, but because a part of me will always be waiting in that voice channel, headphones on, mug in hand, heart open. I met someone new recently. Not like her, different voice, different laugh, but we talk, slowly, gently. There's no playlist yet, no pet names, but she said she likes how I talk about silence, and that meant something, because now I understand something I didn't before. Love doesn't always arrive to stay. Sometimes it just visits, wraps you in a late night call, sits with you through a playlist, and teaches you that you can still feel. I still go back sometimes, to the Midnight Brew. The server's mostly dead now. Bots gone, admins inactive, but hashtag the Late Latte channel's still there, and I sit in it once in a while. No one joins, and I'm okay with that, because the echo is enough. Her voice, her laugh, the way she said goodnight coffee bean like it was a spell. That version of me. The one who smiled into his mic at 2 a.m. just because someone saw him, he still lives in that call log, and I visit him too. To anyone listening, maybe you had a maple too. Someone who showed up in the middle of your mess, made you laugh, made you feel, then quietly disappeared. If you did, I hope you got something. A voice, a moment, a warm line from a DM that still makes your chest ache just right. And if you haven't met them yet, keep your heart open. Because sometimes the most important people don't knock. They just yog in. So here I am now, still working, still tired, still learning how to feel fully. But I'm not empty, not anymore. She left me with more than silence. She left me with a shape, a memory, and the belief that I could be someone's favorite part of the day. I still play the playlist. Sometimes track 3 still makes me cry. But it's a good cry, not because I miss her, but because I got to have her, even just for a while. Some nights when the rain's soft and the lo-fi's right, I close my eyes and pretend she's still there. Mic on, lights dim, cat purring in the background. And I whisper to the dark, "Night-night, Sunbeam." We just fuck on Discord every night. And somehow, that was enough. Maybe it still is. The end. If you like this kind of story, please don't forget to subscribe.